On the night of February 1st, 1959, 9 experienced hikers cut open their own tent from the inside and ran barefoot into a Siberian blizzard in complete darkness. The temperature outside was minus 30 degrees. They left behind their boots, their coats, their food, their equipment, everything they needed to survive. They left behind. All 9 were found dead. Some had catastrophic internal injuries, broken ribs, fractured skulls, with no external wounds, no bruising, no cuts, as if they had been crushed from the inside. One victim was missing her tongue. Soviet investigators closed the case and classified the files. Their official explanation: the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. That was 1959. Nobody has ever explained what that force was. The Soviet Union, 1959. The Cold War is at its peak. The Ural Mountains stretch across western Russia, vast, remote, and brutally unforgiving in winter. Igor Dyatlov was 23 years old, a hiking enthusiast and engineering student at the Ural Polytechnic Institute. He was experienced, meticulous, and well-respected by his peers. In January 1959, Dyatlov assembled a group of 9 fellow students and graduates for a Grade 3 expedition, the highest difficulty level in Soviet hiking. Their destination was Odertin Mountain, deep in the northern Urals. The group was not inexperienced thrill seekers. They were trained, prepared, and equipped for the conditions. They set off on January 23rd. By February 1st, they had reached the slopes of a mountain the local Mansi people called Kolat. In the Mansi language, that name translates to Dead Mountain. They never came back down. When the group failed to return on schedule, search parties were dispatched. On February 26th, nearly 4 weeks after the group's last known camp, rescuers found their tent on the slopes of Dead Mountain. The tent had been cut open from the inside, not unzipped, cut, sliced open with a knife from within, as if the occupants needed to escape in a violent hurry. Their belongings were still inside. Boots lined up neatly at the entrance, coats folded, food untouched. Whatever made 9 experienced hikers abandon everything and run into a minus 30-degree blizzard in the middle of the night, it happened fast, and it happened without warning. Footprints in the snow led investigators down the slope, barefoot or in socks. The first 2 bodies were found at the edge of a forest, about a mile from the tent. They were barefoot, dressed only in underwear. Between them, the remains of a small fire. 3 more bodies were found nearby, on the path back toward the tent, as if they had been trying to return and collapsed. But it was the final 4 that made investigators go silent. They were found months later, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. 1 had a fractured skull. 2 had catastrophic chest injuries, broken ribs on both sides, consistent with the force of a car crash. But there was no external bruising, no wounds on the skin, as if the damage had been done by pressure, by force applied from outside their bodies without touching them. And one of the female hikers, Lyudmila Dubinina, was missing her tongue, her eyes, and part of her lips. The soft tissue, gone. Forensic investigators had no explanation. Soviet authorities launched a formal investigation, and then, quietly, shut it down. The case files were classified, sealed away for decades. The official conclusion stated the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force and left it at that. Over the decades, theories multiplied. The most widely accepted scientific explanation today is an avalanche, or a specific phenomenon called a slab avalanche, where a dense layer of snow breaks away suddenly and silently, creating a pressure wave powerful enough to cause internal injuries without leaving external marks. It would explain the chest injuries. It would explain the hasty escape from the tent. But it doesn't explain the missing tongue. It doesn't explain why some victims showed no injuries at all. Other theories have been far darker. Some investigators believe the Soviet military was testing experimental weapons in the area that night. Infrasound devices, or parachute mines that explode at altitude, creating deadly pressure waves. Witnesses in nearby villages reported seeing glowing orange spheres in the sky that same night. And then there is the radiation. When the final 4 bodies were recovered, 2 of their clothing items tested positive for radioactive contamination. Moderate levels, but present, unexplained. In 2019, Russian prosecutors officially reopened the case. After a year of investigation, they concluded avalanche. The families of the victims rejected the conclusion entirely. Here is what we know for certain. 9 trained, experienced hikers set up camp on a mountain called Dead Mountain on the night of February 1st, 1959. Something made them cut open their tent and flee into one of the most hostile environments on Earth, with no shoes, no coats, and no explanation left behind. Some died of hypothermia. Some died of injuries that forensic scientists still cannot fully account for. One was missing organs that simply disappeared. The Soviet government classified the files and called it an unknown compelling force. 65 years later, with the files partially declassified, with modern forensic science, with a full government reinvestigation, we are still not certain what happened on that mountain. Was it an avalanche? A Soviet weapons test? Infrasound driving 9 experienced hikers into blind panic? Or something the government needed to hide at any cost? I have theories. And in the next file, we go through every single one, the evidence for each, the evidence against, and a final ranking of what I believe actually happened on Dead Mountain that night. If you want those answers, subscribe now, because that file drops next week, and you do not want to miss it. Leave your own theories in the comments. The most compelling one gets pinned, and might just make it into the next video. This is the ceased files. The investigation ceased. The truth didn't.